up? Welcome to Canva for Teacherpreneurs, a webinar by Teaching It Trail. So chances are, if you are here, you want to know how you can use Canva to create your own classroom resources to sell either on Teachers Pay Teachers or your own personal website. At some point in your career, you've probably visited Teachers Pay Teachers. And you know that on Teachers Pay Teachers, you can find a wide variety of worksheets, activities, unit plans, things like that. These teachers are creating these worksheets or creating these classroom resources, and they're profiting from it. So my question is, why not you? I know so many educators who are doing amazing things in their classrooms. They're creating resources from scratch, resources that publishing companies would kill for or should kill for. And you know what the biggest reason is why they say they can't make their own classroom curriculum? The number one reason is they don't know where to start. And for me, I'm sorry, y'all, that's not going to cut it in 2023. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you my 5 top tips for creating classroom resources using Canva. Are y'all ready? Let's get into it. Now, I know you're thinking, why Canva? I mean, as much as I wish Canva was paying me for this webinar, they're not. However, Canva can call me. Let's talk some things out. However, here's why I use Canva to create my classroom resources. Number one, it's easy to use. Number two, really easy to use. Number three, ridiculously easy to use. I'm not being condescending or anything like that. Anything you need, any template is kind of already pre-built for you in Canva. And so let's jump into my tips for using Canva to create your classroom resources. Now, before I start, these are just my tips. I am not claiming to be a graphic designer. I'm not claiming to be, well, actually, I am a curriculum designer and a consultant, but I will claim that. I'm not claiming to be the end all be all on everything Canva. However, these are things that have worked for me. Okay. And I don't mean to brag, but just this year long, I was able to generate over $1,000 in passive income. Let me repeat that, passive income with this worksheet alone. But enough about me. Tip number one, use graphics that will look good when printed in black and white. Now, I don't know about you all, but I don't have access to a full color copy printer all school year round. In fact, I don't even have access to a black and white printer in my classroom. I actually use the copy room printer. I have to make, mass copies of, all my resources, typically once or twice a week. But I say that to say, when you're designing and you find this colorful graphic, oh, this will look amazing. I'm going to print these all for all of my students. If you're elementary school teachers, you probably have maybe 30 or 40 students all together. If you're a middle school teacher, you have more students. If you're a high school student, you're seeing at least 100 or so students a day. So if you don't have the capacity to print and color, don't design in color. And I am not trying to claim to count y'all school's pockets or anything like that, but we know that education is underfunded. I just don't think it's the best practice for designing. Let's keep it pushing. Tip number 2, less is more. I know we've heard this in just so many areas of life in general, but when designing classroom resources, less really is more. Clean and simple designs are more aesthetically pleasing. So I love a clean design. I love a clean, crisp font. I like a lot of, room on the page for students to, doodle. If you've got some students who doodle, I have, full disclaimer, I have ADHD, diagnosed ADHD. I doodle on papers. Whenever I get a paper, there's always a drawing or anything like that. You got to leave some space for the doodlers. And so I love a design that is clean. When I say clean, I mean very crisp lines. There's not a lot of crowding on pages. And I'm actually going to take us back to the page that I use with Teachers Pay Teachers resources so we can just do a really quick analysis. We're not going to go too far in depth though. What are some things that you notice about these designs, aside from the fact that they're all in black and white? Like I said, use graphics in black and white. They're very clean and crisp. There's not a lot of clutter. This one is probably a little bit more cluttered than I would prefer or that I would design. But we also noticed that, they're using very simple graphics, a lot of line work in the images and things like that. So they're very clean and crisp. And so I know y'all like, oh, Tori, I see some color. These are cover sheets. So when you're designing, and I guess this is, not even a tip that I was going to include, but I'll include this as a freebie. When you're designing for Teachers Pay Teachers, or, your personal website, you're going to want a sales page, something that's colorful to attract people's attention. Your sales page or your marketing page is going to actually be different than the actual resource page. So that was just a little freebie included in the freebie. And so what do you notice about all of these? I saw a tweet, or was it an Instagram post, and somebody said, is it just me, or do all Teachers Pay Teachers resources look exactly the same? And no, it's not true. Pretty much everybody designs using the same fonts, the same styles. And so I'm going to challenge you, teacher creators, to try to do something different. Because we don't need more of the same. Your voice and your creative talent is really, really needed in this area, because as you can see, everything looks like it was created by the same person. Which leads me to my third point, tip number 3, don't be afraid to reinvent the wheel. So Canva has these templates for worksheets. Literally all you got to do is just type in worksheets, and boom, you get like thousands of worksheets that pop right up, and they look exactly like what's in Teachers Pay Teachers. So, I'm not trying, Teachers Pay Teachers creators, don't come for me, because I'm giving away all the tips and tricks, okay? There's room for everybody to eat. But use the existing Canva templates and tweak them. So like, let's say, for example, there's an activity in your school's curriculum and you want to create it, but you want to use a different text. Reinvent the wheel, right? Use the template, recreate your worksheet. Let's say you've got an original idea, or as an extension activity of something that you've already done, or you've got an original idea of something that you think will make a great addition alongside your school's curriculum, and you want to create some supplemental materials. I love that term. Use the Canva templates. Or if you want to be a total, complete and total, badass, I guess, start from scratch. You starting from scratch, go ahead with your bad self. I say that to say, don't be afraid to use what's already there. Don't feel that you have to start from scratch, because you don't really have to. Tip number 4, this is going to sound pretty basic, but draft in Google or Word, and creating Canva. Now, Canva actually just came out with this new feature to where you can actually write and type in it. So I'm actually pretty, interested in, figuring out more about that. However, I can't teach you how to do something that I don't know how to do. So, for the sake of being transparent and everything, I write, I do all my drafting in Google Docs. And basically what I do is I write out what I want, all the text. I check for, any spelling or grammatical errors. And then I transfer it over to Canva. That way I'm making sure that, before I push something out, it's clean. Now, is that foolproof? Absolutely not, because we're human beings, and it is almost impossible to edit things that you write, because, you cannot see your own mistakes. That's just a little tip coming from a certified English teacher. And so always use something to draft before creating in Canva. And when in doubt, have somebody vet your resource before you make it go live on your website or Teachers Pay Teachers. And when I say vet, just go through it, look at it, ask them, do they see any mistakes, anything, they would do differently with their class. It should be somebody that you trust. That's actually another free tip, within this. Last but not least, tip number 5, be consistent with your font style. Now, I know you may think that this is trivial and font style may not matter. However, you want to make sure that your font style remains consistent throughout your resources. So, case in point, let's say your header style is style A, and your detail style is style B. And you have another page, you want to make sure that header style is the same header style as the header on the first page. Did I get confusing? Because I almost just confused myself. Better yet, let me show you all. This is a classroom resource that I made for an excerpt that I took from Becoming by First Lady Michelle Obama. Now, this would be my intro page or my marketing page or my cover page or whatever it is you want to call it to my resource. This page would not be given to students because it has information that's strictly for teachers. For example, the topics, the duration, the learning objectives, the Common Core standards, all that jazz. That's not going to be printed out. However, I just want to show you all kind of from start to finish what I'm talking about. So this will be the first page of my resource. So back to header style and having consistent font and why I think it matters as far as like just having a consistent style. The header at the top where it says the following excerpt is from the memoir Becoming, that header, the spot style is called Cabin Sketch. Now throughout this resource, all my headers are going to be in Cabin Sketch. Now the details or the rest of the text for the document is in a completely different font. That's what I mean when I say remain consistent with your font style. All right, y'all. So I have gone as far as I can go with this freebie. I have given all I can with this freebie. But do you want to learn more and do you want to work closer together with a group of educators who are also trying to learn how to utilize Canva to bring their classroom resources, units, activities, worksheets, presentations, curriculum, whatever it is that you want to create from inside of your head into Canva? Join me for Canva Pro for Teacherpreneurs, where I go in depth on how to use Canva to create classroom resources for teachers, pay teachers, and beyond. So in this workshop, we're going to talk about the basic elements of Canva. I'm going to take you from text to graphics to, removing backgrounds from graphics, from borrowing graphics from the internet. I'm going to show you how to design classroom resources. I'm going to show you how to even upload and sell on Teachers Pay Teachers for those of you who actually want to sell on Teachers Pay Teachers. We're going to have some interactive activities. You all are going to be working on some real life activities. And so I'm not just going to be sitting and talking because that is not my workshop or teaching style. So if you would like to know more information, visit me online at www.teachingittrill.com. Workshop dates are going to be Saturday, January 7th. So that's next Saturday. But I'm also going to host a workshop every first Saturday of the month. So we've got one February 4th. We've also got one March 4th for the low ball price of $10. And I know my peers online are going to get me for this price. However, I really want you all to have access to this resource because I think, our job as educators is not only to kind of inspire each other, but encourage each other, but also to lift each other up. And so if I have a skill set that I believe is valuable and I want to help everybody out, I'm not going to charge you $1,005 for it. All right. So with that being said, if you are interested in registering, visit me online, message me on Instagram, holla at me. I hope to see you all next Saturday.